Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 3, episode 1. Child, let's get to the foolishness. Okay, now let me tell y'all something. The premiere episode, it was good, but the judge that the preview for the season gave was what I was really interested in. But child, let's get into it. So when the episode first opens up, they're catching us up on what happened throughout the seasons. Martell being a big brown penis. Tisha trying to get Kimmie to move and live with them on the 10 acres, planning all of these events. Mel looking like Mel. And Destiny, not to be mistaken for Destiny's Child. So the episode opens up and I was like, okay, new intro, honey. I like it. It's giving what needs to be gave. But you know what I was thinking when I was watching it? I said it is so strange seeing Mel and Martell not all hugged up on the intro, because they were like the nucleus of the show. So that was like, it was a little bit different, but everybody was looking good though. So in the first scene, Marceau and Maurice go to Scott Manor. Marceau, I don't know what it is about you not being able to choose the vehicle that should go where you're actually going. It's like you'll ride a bike to go to a monster truck rally. Like, I'm not understanding why you cannot find the proper vehicle for your destination. But that's neither here nor there. Child, what is wrong with you? So Marceau stuck in the mud and whatnot. And him and Maurice go to visit Scott Manor. And Marceau was just telling us, everything has stopped because the rain won't let them be great. Uncle Mike is there and he's back and they're talking about the plans. And Marceau said, to keep Tisha happy, the manor has to be started ASAP. But what Uncle Mike don't understand is that Tisha keeps giving him things to change, which stalls the plans being started in the first place. So basically it's a lose-lose situation. And, Maurice just lurking around to see if Marceau has done his plans already so he can build his bigger and better. Well, Maurice, it don't look like you're going to be building nothing because Kimmie cannot be bothered. And we all know that if Kimmie says no, then it's a no. So anyway, Maurice, knowing full and well Kimmie wants no parts of Tisha and all her events, are living next to her and Miss Wanda. And Marceau was like, so what are you doing here? Because we know that Kimmie will not let you build on Scott Manor. And he was like, what you mean let? Exactly what he said, let. Child, Kimmie wear the pants in that relationship. Child, Kimmie is not going anywhere near them. Marceau said, I feel like the reason why Tisha is upset, it came from her failed expectations, right? So then Marceau comes out of his face and says, Martel and Tisha are very similar. How, Sway? How are they very similar? Now listen, Tisha is a lot of things and she can rub some people the wrong way and she can get on people's nervous system and whatnot. But I do not think that Tisha and Martell are anything alike. I didn't like that statement. So Marceau said, I just feel like when it comes to responding to some things, instead of backing off from it, they take a different approach. Maurice said, well, did you see him on the Steve Harvey on the Strawberry Letter? He apologized and it sounded really genuine. First of all, Marceau, you stay talking crazy. Maurice just nodding and smiling to my they are nothing alike. Stop doing your wife like that. And Maurice, honey, I'm not sure if you are present or not, honey, but him on that Strawberry Letter, that right there was definitely some old bullshit. Okay, listen to me, Maurice. Martell was trying to salvage his trifling reputation. Nothing about that apology was genuine, and you are really naive. Honey, boy gone. Marceau said, I believe he was sincere in the moment, but then the next thing he'll be upset with you. And those are facts. We saw him go from one extreme to the next all last season. Martell is spoiled. If he hears anything he doesn't like or gets challenged in any way, he throws a tantrum. Honey, I'm glad Marceau can see through the bullshit. Okay? So Marceau was like, well, he goes back and forth. It takes two to tango, and he feels like he was wronged as well. Of course, a narcissist always feels like somebody's doing something to them. Maurice said, I don't disagree, but at the end of the day, he just needs to bow out gracefully. Y'all, please introduce Maurice to Martell, honey. Nothing about him says graceful. Child, do not have time to keep playing with you, Maurice. Honey, what is wrong with you? So then we see Mel J. Blige in her blonde wig, and Girl, okay. And we see her in the blonde wig and whatnot. And she tells us, even though she's divorced, she's focusing on her. And so then Destiny comes over and they have a drink and make a toast, right? So Destiny said, well, you got to look at me because if we don't give each other eye contact, then we're going to have bad sex for 7 years. Honey, we definitely don't need that. And when I tell you those eyes would have been locked. Somebody else said, well, honey, the way this going, I may be celibate for 7 years. She was like, why? She said, I'm just trying to figure out myself. And she was like, well, how are you trying to figure out yourself? Honey, Mel, let me find out, y'all. But anyway, Mel said, I'm just learning what I like and what I don't like. And I'm learning that my patience is thin. Okay, because she is not for the foolishness. Her tolerance is low. So Destiny said, well, when you've been through some things, what you went through, you can't take much. Okay. And I feel like this is so true. Let me tell y'all something. I can't tolerate nothing at this point. If I see one glimpse of a red flag, you are out. If you breathe too hard, you'll never hear from me again. I cannot be bothered, honey, after going through that terrible divorce. Honey, you cannot even look in my direction because I'm not going to be able to be bothered. So then Destiny tells Mel, yeah, I went to brunch with Kimmie, right? She was like, see, I told y'all probably have a lot of things in common. Y'all are almost the same person. So Mel said, I knew y'all would, be able to get together. She's like, yeah, she was kind of asking me some personal information too. So then they show us Kimmie asking about LeBerick. And then Destiny said, yeah, people be asking all kind of questions because they think they want to spill your tea. But can't nobody spill my tea. She was like, but speaking of tea, did I tell you that me and LeBerick are officially divorced? Here go Mel. Girl. Mel, stop acting shocked, honey. Your bad acting is showing, honey. Stop. Child, she did a freeze frame for about 30 seconds. But let me tell y'all something. I knew something was not right last season. But dang, y'all were married less than a year. Y'all just had a baby. The baby's not even 1 year old yet. Honey, Child, that is a mess. Mel saying in her confessional, she said, listen, I know they were having some issues, and then they do this little flashback and they're talking about her taking his last name and all this kind of stuff. She said, but I didn't know it was to that extent that they would get a divorce. But Mel, let me just stop right here. This red hair, honey, now this you're on point with. Shout out to Phaedra Parks. Honey, that confessional look is everything. When I tell you you're looking like something, okay, girl, honey, we don't normally get it right, but I'm loving this. The look is looking. So Mel was like, well, how can you she was like, how long ago was this? She said it was like a month ago. And Mel said, how could you go through an entire divorce and not say something and let me be there for you? I needed to know this. And she was like, well, I just really wanted to go through it by myself. And I just really needed to get myself together. And I knew that you were going through a lot of stuff already. And I just want to put more on you than you could bear, right? And I thought that was really nice of Destiny to try to just keep it to herself and go through it by herself and figure things out. So Destiny said, everybody is basically trying to catch up. I guess I should have told people because they're like, oh, and me, I'm just chill about it. So then she told Mel, she said, you know what? When you signed the papers, it was a hard day. But when I signed, the sun shined differently. Today's a new day. But there are no blue skies. Shout out to Kurt Franklin, honey. Baby, Destiny said, I am not upset in the slightest, honey. To the left, to the left. Oh, no, that's right, child. So she was like, you had a long marriage. I didn't have a chance to do that, so I didn't lose anything. And you know what? Really, you did sneeze and the marriage was over. So, I mean, it's given very much, I threw the baby out with the bathwater. Because, I mean, it's like y'all were together and then in the next half of the second season, you didn't see him anymore. So then Mel gives her some words of encouragement. In the next scene, Marceau gets a call from his daughter about buying her some potato chips. I'm like, aw, I rarely hear it called potato chips. People are just like, can you get me a bag of chips? Or can you give me some chips? She's like, Daddy, can you give me some potato chips? I'm like, oh, look at that little voice. Just listen to it. I loved it. So she's trying to get some chips, honey, and Marceau is acting like he don't know what kind of chips she's talking about. He's like, there's a million types of chips, so you need to give me an exact brand, right? So then Kimmie in her little black dress, they stopped by to give Marceau his meal prep. And Marceau was telling us that since Tisha has been busy, going to school and doing all these other things, that Kimmie has been doing his meal prep. So then he says to us, Kimmie is a professional caterer. I said, what? When did Kimmie become a professional caterer? Because I thought she was a nurse. I mean, I guess that was just me. But anyway, Marceau said, and speaking of, I wanted to give Tisha a surprise party, and I wanted to know if maybe you could help me. And then Kimmie said, you want me to help you plan it? He said, yeah. She said, no. Child, over on the other side, Tisha is talking to Kiki, her cousin, about her graduation. Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Shout out to Drake. Okay, so she talking to Kiki, and I'm like, okay, finally. They brought in some backup for Tisha, because if I have to go through another season with Tisha saying that there is nobody there for her, I'm going to scream. So the fact that they brought someone in for backup, I love it. So they're talking about the graduation. So Kiki is like, well, do you think your in-laws are going to be there? And she's like, yeah, if Marceau invites them. So she said, well, what do you think about Kimmie? Do you think she'll come? So Tisha said, look, we have to be around each other because Maurice and Marceau are best friends, not to mention the fact that they're brothers. She said, at this point in my life, I just want to move forward. We need to take a shot every time Tisha says that she's ready to move forward. Honey, oh my goodness. She's like, the quarantine is almost over. I said, what is a quarantine? Like the corn that you eat, -teen, as in teenager? Child, that Tisha knows she got... Baby, that Tisha knows she gonna put some words, string some words together wrong if she don't do nothing else. The quarantine. It's quarantine. Quarantine. Honey, oh child. She's like, I'm just looking forward. I'm not looking backwards. And when I was looking at Kiki, I said, Kiki looked like a younger Miss Wanda. Honey, them jeans strong. So then we see Marceau. He's still over there talking to Kimmie about Kimmie helping him with this party, right? But Kimmie is like, given the way Tisha feels about me, I don't know why you would even ask me to do that. So Marceau said, can you just extend an olive branch? She said, I don't feel like I need to extend an olive branch. All y'all made me the bad guy, but now you want me to help with this, that, and the third. Kimmie said, that's not cool, honey. You need to ask those people to help you. Back over here with Kiki, Tisha is saying, when God has blessed you, you don't have time for strife. I can't hang on to anger or ill will. And if something is bothering me, me, I will call you. And after it's done, I'm not going to keep bringing up the past. Tisha, now that's a lie, honey. You will beat a dead horse. I'm happy you're faking it till you make it with the positivity and whatnot. But you definitely will revisit some mess if the opportunity presents itself. Okay? Back over here with Kimmie and Marceau. Kimmie said, call Miss Wanda. Marceau said, she's going to be out of town. Kimmie said, how you know? He said, because I planned it when she's out of town. Leave Miss Wanda alone. I like Miss Wanda. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Miss Wanda, okay? But I feel like Miss Wanda is old school. I ain't taking no mess. I'm going to say what I got to say, and I'm going to fight my fight, whether I'm right or I'm wrong. That's why her and Kimmie bump heads so much, because they're actually the same person, but Kimmie's just a more tactful, toned down version. That's just my opinion of it. So Marceau was basically making jokes because, Kimmie told him that Miss Wanda could make the food, and he's like, Miss Wanda cooked with margarine, and she be boiling meat in a pot and all this kind of stuff. But let me tell you something. I looked at that food Miss Wanda made last season, and I bet Miss Wanda can make a mean southern dish, okay? From Huntsville, too? Child, please. Honey, you talking about some cornbread make you want to slap your mama. I know Miss Wanda can throw down. You could just look at her and tell. So Kimmie is like, well, she buy food that Tisha want to eat. So after going back and forth, they agree Marceau will do the meat and Kimmie will do the sides. Child, it's a waste of a scene. My thing is, why of all people would you ask Kimmie? And why can't you get the kitchen staff at Black to cater it? I was just confusion on that part, but moving forward. Oh, Lord. Martell is back on my screen. Child, I was just in such peace, and here we go. He says since his divorce, he's looking forward to new beginnings. Martell stops in to see Destiny, and he asked her about her son, and she was like, he's 9 months old now. So then Martell said, yeah, I just dropped Milani off at school, right? So Destiny was like, yeah, speaking of the first day of school, I saw that picture you posted on Instagram. He's like, yeah, okay. She's like, you mentioned you had one more on the way? He's like, well, that's not a surprise, is it? Ugh. He is so freaking grimy. Okay, you have another child on the way. She was like, no, but it's a fresh wound. He's like, my post or my business. Let's talk about something else because everybody got business and everybody want to talk about Martell. Well, Martell, honey, newsflash. You're the only one constantly having lives and social media wars with your ex. So, of course, we're talking about you. Like, you're not making any sense. She's like, well, it's just a lot. So then he said, look, Mel moved on with her life. Child, I just have to take a moment of silence. Martell is just so cringy. Like, it is really something wrong with him. It is really something wrong with him. So he said, I'm going to talk about my kids however I see fit. Destiny, listen, do not waste your breath, honey. He feels no remorse for having an outside child. It's all about Martell. Yes. Before y'all start coming out in his comments talking about Wednesdays, yes, please acknowledge your child. I am not saying that. But create a separate post to acknowledge your child. Honey, you have humiliated this woman enough. Now, y'all can't sit up here and tell me that if you saw this post underneath your ex with your kid, and the reason for the demise of your relationship is the fact that he had an outside child, and then you see him saying, 5 kids and all that, you ain't gonna feel some kind of way. Honey, you need to do that later, child. Nobody got time to be playing with him. Ugh. Martell really gets on my nerves, honey. He really gets on my nerves. So then Destiny was like, okay, whatever. What's in your little box? I was like, no, what's in his little box? So he's like, yeah, I have some body butters, some oils, and some men's items. So Destiny said, is this your product? He said, I'm looking to be 20%. She said, what do you mean looking to be 20%? He said, I haven't signed the contract yet. She's like, you're pushing product with no contract? He's like, yeah, let's not worry about that. Let's look at the product. I'm trying to put it in your amazing store. And I want to ask this. Anybody from Huntsville, is Destiny's store actually open? Is this like a functioning business? Because if so, I really do like to support black-owned beauty supplies. So I really do want to know if it's open. Now, Destiny has not been my favorite addition to the cast, but I love to support a black business, and I gotta just keep it real. So, Martell talking in circles, honey, because he don't have no contract in place, didn't go through the proper channels, nothing, carrying around this box of oils. But anyway, he said, this is Martell Holt. She's like, well, what's the guarantee you gonna get paid if nothing is signed? He's like, well, I didn't want to do it until after I got the divorce final. So in other words, I didn't want to owe Mel any money, and I didn't want her to have half of anything that I'm doing. So I tried to sneak and do it after it was all said and done. So she's like, well, how long y'all been divorced now? He's like, a few months. And she's like, okay, so what is taking so long? Honey, I mean, you're going to need some paperwork. So then he said, look, I'm supporting and promoting black business anyway. Martell looks so foolish peddling these products. Oh, my, how the mighty have fallen. So Destiny was like, he needs some paperwork. It's just not good business. This is what she's saying in her confessional. She's like, apparently Mel was the brains of the operation and he was the brawn. I said that last season that Martell and Mel were very much Pinky and the brain, honey. She's the brain and he was Pinky. Martell is like, so how are you and LeBerry? Because, you're trying to get the fire off of him. He's trying to get everything off of him, so he want to talk about LeBerry. She's like, well, that's in God's hands at this point. So Martell said, but it comes to us putting in the work. Boy, you are the last person to try to give some relationship advice. Child, goodbye. She said, well, did you put in the work? He said, I did. He said, we were married for 12 years and that's hard work. She said, oh, it's also hard to balance 2 relationships at the same time. Ooh, Destiny chose violence. Child, Destiny said, honey, were you putting in the work or were you putting in overtime? Honey, he was putting in work, all right, honey, putting in work and then putting overtime on the weekend, buying cars and all and whatnot, allegedly. He's like, see, you and Mel are so much alike, it's y'all mouth. He started getting real disrespectful, saying that her mouth is the reason why she's getting a divorce. Destiny, I know you have to film and whatnot, but I would have been escorted him and his box full of frankincense and myrrh right on up out of my store, honey. You would have, child, let me tell y'all something. Martell would have had to get that brown box and kick rocks. You will not stand in my face and disrespect me about a relationship that has fallen apart and make it my fault. Martell is ridiculous, honey. She was like, yeah, we too much woman for y'all. He was like, no, that's not a good thing. He said, no man wants a mouth like that. So then he goes on to say, men need to be allowed to be men and women need to be women because the way y'all going, y'all gonna end up alone and the only man that you'll get is a weak man. Basically, he's saying let him cheat on you, talk crazy, have outside babies in peace while you stay hush mouth. Okay, moving forward. Melody is at the office on a Zoom call with the baby in her arms. I'm every woman. Shout out to Whitney Houston and Shaka Khan. Baby, Mel, though, we ain't never seen you have to have this baby while you on the Zoom call. But honey, I understand when it's one parent doing everything, sometimes you got to make it work, honey. You have to make it work. Women have to do so much. Child. So she tells us about her new music, and it's #4 on the charts, and she's going to be capitalizing off of that. And she has to do a little video. Okay, Mel, honey, get that little two-step together and take that show on the road. So as she's talking and having her Zoom call, Chris is stopping by the office. Now, if y'all remember, Chris and his wife were trying to get Mel and Martell together when Mel had on an ill-fitted wig that was braided to the back, and she threw that stuff on Martell. That's him. And he was also working with Martell last season. So he stops by, and, Mel was like, I'm happy that he stopped by, but I'm also curious as to why he's here. So then he starts talking to her about the 47 acres. Child, I wish y'all would get rid of this 47 acres so we could all move on. Mel said that she's happy that it's getting sold, and you're just as happy as we are. So Chris stopped by and said, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the 47 acres. Mel is like, well, is the deal moving forward? He said, yeah, we're about to close on it. So then Chris said, we're going to build 40 plus single family homes, and I wanted to know if you would be willing to build a few homes. Honey, that is messy. Messy boots. Why would you ask Mel to build on these 47 acres knowing that Martell has been overly involved in this mess? Child, so she was like, well, when and at what price point? He was like, within a couple months, and the price point is about $250 and up, right? So then she said to him, I know how passionate Martell is about that project. So basically, I don't want to step on his toes, and we've had enough to deal with. So I really don't want an issue. She's like, did you talk to him about it first? Chris was like, well, I'm going to definitely let him know. This is my thing. Out of all the things that are going on, Mel is still extending grace to him. Because me, honey, I would have signed on the dotted line. I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen? I'm signing, honey. Shout out to Cardi B. I'm gonna sign my name on the dotted line, but that's just me. So it's the day of the event. Everyone is showing up. Surprised to see Mel, but Mel says she's working on her relationship with Tisha. So when she got the invite, of course, she was coming to support. Okay. So under the tent, Tisha's brother, T-Baby, or whatever his name is, child, is asking Kimmie if her and Tisha are good because he knows they had some difficulties. And I'm like, what is difficulties? One thing about Tisha's family, they gonna mispronounce a word if they don't do nothing else. So they're at the event with some difficulties. Okay, let's keep it moving. He said, Tisha is sensitive, and, my mom is as well. And so then her cousin Kiki piped up and was like, I felt like you could have had her back a little bit more. Kimmie said, which time? She said, when the reunion happened, they asked if you had talked about Mel, and you said yes, and she said no. And I just felt like it was a little bit of contradicting going on. So basically you wanted her to lie while, Tisha was lying. That's what I'm getting. So Kimmie said, well, how was I supposed to answer? Well, honey, with a lie, apparently. She said, I commend you for telling the truth. So then Kimmie said, do you think we talked about Mel? Kiki, yes or no? I said, oh, child, please answer, Kiki. Kiki, hurry up. Spit it out, honey. Pipe up. Speak your speech. And Kimmie was like, look, I know exactly what y'all are talking about, but have y'all told Tisha that maybe she should have said yes? Okay, when they asked us, had we talked about Mel? Have y'all had those conversations with her? Okay, listen. Basically, Kiki and them feel like Kimmie shouldn't have thrown Tisha under the bus by saying yes. They wanted Kimmie to lie as well. But my question is this. Why is this still a thing? Like, I'm not understanding why we're still talking about this. It's getting on my nerves. Tisha gets there and wasn't moved in the slightest. So in the confessional, he said, were you surprised? She was like, I was surprised you invited my family. Child, that is sad. So Marceau gonna say, your mom couldn't make it. I'm still broke up about it. Boy, please. So then Tisha said, you probably planned it so she couldn't make it. Honey, you ain't fooling her. So then Tisha gives a speech thanking everyone for being there, thanking her father for praying her through. And it was good let me tell you something. A lot of people were saying, oh, Lord, here's Tisha's family. I like the fact that we are getting the real. I like a reality show that's raw. I don't like no stage stuff like we see on Love and Hip Hop. I don't like fakeness. I actually appreciate Tisha's family being here so that we can see their dynamic. I like Kiki and them. I mean, they're going to come with the foolery, but that's what we watch this show for. Let's just be real. And I like the fact that it's a real family. We got to see her father, because in past seasons, all we saw was Miss Wanda and her pink curls. So, honey, I was happy to see it. I'm here for it. So then, after she gives her speech, Marceau gives her a Rolex. Honey, Rolly gang. Mel comes over and gives Tisha a massage gift card. Honey, I love to see them actually trying to fix their friendship. So then on the other side, we see Marceau, and he's talking to the family, right? So Marceau said, looking at Uncle Bernard, I think that was his name. And he said, so cousin Bernard. He said, so how are you related? He said, I raised your wife, on the other side of the tracks in the projects. Ooh, child. Ooh, it's getting sticky. So Marceau is over there getting checked by the cousin for being from the wrong side of the tracks and that comment that he made. And Tisha's brother is like, well, what you trying to say, bro? Honey, I know that's right. Marceau over there talking about, I'm sorry for what you think you heard. No, it's not what you think you heard. Marceau, you know exactly what you meant when you said it. He said, when I said I was from the wrong side of the tracks, if y'all live in the projects, sometimes I was homeless. So, I was on the worst side. Marceau know how to smooth some mess over with a bunch of lies, okay? Marceau said, just when I thought there was no Miss Wanda, here are Wanda's minions. Let me tell y'all something. Marceau would tick me off always putting down my family. I understand that, Tisha's family, they ride for her. Who wouldn't want their family to ride for them? By show of comments, okay? I understand Tisha can be a little bit annoying. But at the same time, everybody wants their family in their corner. And Marceau always talking about these people. Honey, I've been to cuss him out. So then Kimmie and Tisha have a little sidebar about the problems they're having. Kimmie said, listen, I love you, but it's clear that you feel some kind of way about me. She said, I had a whole sidebar with Kiki and your brother, and I was just telling them that I knew that you were upset, and I loved you, but I knew that we had a disagreement. So Tisha said, I just thought we were closer than that. I don't have any sisters, so I really clung to you and Mel. Okay. This is the thing. Are we going to keep going in these circles? Okay. I just don't understand why we have to keep going in these circles. Tisha feels like Kimmie wasn't as interested in being as close as she did. Kimmie said, well, when I had to talk to Kiowa, y'all didn't have my back, so why should I give what's not given to me? So Kimmie is telling Tisha that she adores her, and Tisha said, I don't feel like it, though. I need actions. What you're doing is not matching up, and I feel like the same is not being given to me. Look, the two of you will not have me reviewing this 3-year-old feud. It ends right now. If I see it in some more episodes, I'm going to skip right over it because this is some foolishness. Tisha is a bit more needy in friendships and relationships, and that's okay. We all know a needy friend. Kimmie feels like I give the same energy that I receive. Honey, what you give is what you going to get. How do y'all move forward? By honestly moving forward. Now that you know what the other requires. Moving forward, honey, and scene. Child, that was the end of the episode. I don't know how this season is going to go, but it's look like it's going to be good, honey. It's looking like Mel going to bring somebody that's going to be her mouthpiece to get the mess started. Honey, they are inserting a whole bunch of mess. Hopefully we don't see Martell too much. And child, we're going to get into it as we get into it. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.